Welcome back, everybody. All right, so today we're getting rid of this dishwasher because it stinks and it doesn't clean anything. First thing you're going to look for is these two screws holding it in the counter, and those come out, and then you pretty much just lift it out of here. This thing has not been cleaning and it's gross, and I'll probably take it apart to look at it later, but for now, this is what we're doing. And you'll find your water line. I know ours runs in through here, and there's actually a shut-off back here, if you can see it in the dark, down there, right in the middle of that pipe there. So that's the water shut-off for the dishwasher. So hopefully that works for you, and it's easy to find. Now, our flooring was put in around this, so I have to turn these feet up so I can get them over past the floor and then pull this thing out. This is the water line. Make sure you shut it off before you disconnect this. I put tape on here to make sure it didn't leak. So when you take this off, there'll probably be some water in it. So make sure you're ready to catch that. Got her loose and very little water. Oh, there is some dripping. But you see the thread tape there? That was all on there to make sure this didn't leak, and it didn't. So this one's coming out, and we're throwing in the new one. So collected whatever water was there. Any more should be very minimal because that is turned off in there. Now, water could come out of here if we move this around a good bit. So try and leave that out of it. And like I said, turn these up so I can get them past the floor. That was to make this level with the counter. All right, got her past the old floor and the new floor. So now we can pull her straight out. All right, pulled her straight out. Not a big deal. There is the muffling, the padding that goes across the top to make it quieter. So we don't really need that around at the moment. Now what we're gonna do is just layer over so we can disconnect the power. This has a hardwired power line coming to it, so we need to disconnect that. Our water line's still over there, and we're not dripping anything. So we have to disconnect the drain and also the power. Underneath, you should find a box like this. Warning, electrical shock. Yours might look a little different, might be a little different, but you're gonna have a screw. If it's like mine, you have the black wires, the white wires, and the ground wire. Make sure the ground wire is grounded to the metal housing. Should be about like this, and you'll see the wire coming in just like that. Make sure your electricity is off, or you might get a good old shock and a light show. So we're just gonna pull these out. If you're not comfortable with this, don't do it. But my electricity is off. See that? Those guys are connected. See? Not a problem when the electricity is off. Oh, and we got water still dripping from up here. Not much, but yeah, water and electricity don't mix, so don't mix them. There. Now these are gonna go back through this housing. We need to keep, actually no, down here. You might need to actually unhook them here. This guy's holding that wire in, so that's what we need to do. Get those two bolts opened up, or screw it off from here and then just pull them through. So like I said, don't do this if your wires are hot. Make sure your electricity is off and that this is not live, or you aren't gonna be happy. And someone's gonna come running. See, this would all be in, yeah, there's water dripping on the top. This would all be a bad deal if I had the power still on. So undo this. This is your ground right here. And I'm kind of nervous, even though I know it's off, especially with this water being around. So now what you can do, these stay with the washer. Get them out of the way. This stuff leaves the washer. Might have to straighten them out. And what you can do right now is turn this guy right here. It's probably pretty tight since I tightened it with tools. But if you turn off this collar, I'm gonna need to do that. There, just loosen that up. You can release this. And then again, make sure your power's off. So that'll slide that through. And then that can pretty much stay together. And we can swap out our dishwasher. Now all we need to do yet is get the discharge line off, which here I am disconnecting it from the disposal. That was just held on by a clamp. And then depending if you're using a new one or one came with your new washer, you can reuse this, disconnect it here, but then this all stays with the machine. So you can disconnect it here, take off these clamps and remove it. You just have to make sure that nothing's leaking in the end. So anywhere that you disconnect, make sure that that doesn't leak afterwards. As you can see, I needed a towel, and this water is rank. Super disgusting. Great time to clean under here while you have it out. Then we'll work on getting this one in. Ow, I stepped on that. Check this inlet before you go at it. Look, there's little stones. This came from a hard water house. We're gonna pick those out with a screwdriver, and sometimes this actually does come out, so you can pull it out, clean it up, and put it back in. Then we're gonna put Teflon tape around here just to make sure it doesn't leak. And we're gonna screw on the water outlet. Try to get that dry so it's not leaking water. And make sure that gasket in there is lined up. Then we're gonna fish this back through the hole into under the sink. And then we can hook it back up. Here we're gonna take the white, black, and ground. Remember, hook it up to the white, black, and the ground bolt screw that's going to go right in here. We have that over here, right there. Remember to put this on. Once you fish these wires back through the hole, this gets threaded over there before you connect them, and you can tighten that up. Quick back flush, and ran the water through it and picked it out, and she's good as new. Now I'll just pop it back in. You can see in there, it's probably a gasket so it doesn't backflow water once it's in there. All right, got this guy back in and tightened down. Now we'll match up these wires, wire tie them, and then put the ground in. Wanted to make a note of this for myself. Assembled in Mexico, 9/29/14. It's good to know. Make sure everything's fully tight, that it's not gonna rattle free. These things turn on until they're not turning anymore. Make sure those wires are securely in there and nothing's showing of the bare wire. Then you can tuck these in somewhere in the box here. And we can put the cover back on, which kind of sits on like this, right in these notches. And then you put the screw in the other side through this hole. Keep in mind this is on the side. This is how I was told to tape off the Teflon through the ridges here, and it seems to work, so that's what we did. And here, this is the outer collar that tightens on there. You want to make sure this middle thing, the hose, the actual thing, is not loose. If you can move this, it's probably still too loose, and you're going to turn your water on and make sure that this doesn't leak at all. But this is our hose for the pressure line. And then we're going to go in here and turn on our water. And then hope it doesn't leak. Make sure you check it all out. And yeah, you don't want any water leaking out from the top, from the bottom. If it leaks from the top, it means it's probably not tight or it's not sealing, and it's from the bottom, means it might need to be tightened a little bit more, or it's not sealing in the bottom area. Just make sure it's dry. Now that we have the water on, it's pressurized to here. Yeah, I don't see any water, so it seems dry. I guess we're good. This is already set up and pushed back a little bit, so it's kind of the way it's going to be forever. I'm just waiting to see if any water pops out from around the top or anything. Don't forget to put your blanket on top of your washer. So I forgot to put the blanket on top of the washer, so I put it back out. So now she's tucked in. Sometimes down the corner, it's cut out a little bit right there so it doesn't catch when you open the door. Make sure it's all put where you want it and level on either side. Then we can push it back in. At this point, nothing's leaking. Got my feet adjusted. And then we have these two little screws that go up in here to hold it into the counter, so it's not jumping around. It's basically just sitting in the cabinet without these. Now it's time to make sure everything looks good under here. Nothing's pinched, nothing's crimped, nothing's leaking. This is going to go on the bottom once I'm sure it's not leaking. This is the panel for the bottom there. And then these little turn screws go in there on the sides, and it's all good. We're installed. Nothing's leaking in here. We have the drain into the disposal, and we're ready to give it a test and hope that it all works out good. So I'll see you guys on the next one. Subscribe, like, and share, and I will see you later. Have a great day.